It was a stormy night on the highway outside Abuja. Rain poured so hard that cars crawled like frightened animals through the darkness. And in one of those cars sat Richard Adams, a billionaire everyone admired, smart, powerful, untouchable. But on that night, his power meant nothing. Lightning flashed, tires screeched, and in seconds his car spun off the road, crashing into a ditch. Silence followed. The world forgot him. Except one person. Her name was Kioma, a fruit seller on the roadside. She lived in a leaking shack, surviving day by day. When the crash shook the ground, others ran away in fear, but Kioma ran toward the sound. She found the car upside down, smoke rising from the hood. Inside, Richard was unconscious, blood running down his face. She cried out for help. No one came. So, with trembling hands, she broke the window with a rock, dragged him out, and carried him beneath the small shed she used for her fruit stand. She tore her wrapper to bandage his wounds, covered him with her own shawl, and stayed by his side through the night. When dawn came, Richard opened his eyes. He saw a young woman sitting beside him, soaked and shivering. He blinked. Where am I? Kioma smiled weakly. Safe, sir. You had an accident. I stayed till you woke up. Richard tried to stand, but pain shot through his leg. Why would you risk your life for a stranger? He asked. She shrugged. Because you were human before you were rich. He stared at her. No one had ever spoken to him like that. When rescuers finally arrived, they rushed him to the hospital. He offered her money right there, but Kioma refused. I didn't do it for money, she said. Days later, as he recovered, Richard couldn't stop thinking about her. The woman who had nothing had given him everything. Her courage, her kindness, her warmth. When he left the hospital, he drove back to that same roadside. But the fruit stand was empty. He asked around. People said Kioma's mother had fallen ill and she'd gone back to her village. He didn't hesitate. He found her home, a tiny clay house surrounded by overgrown grass. Her mother lay on a mat, coughing weakly. Kioma was trying to boil herbs over a fire that barely burned. When she saw Richard, she froze. Sir, what are you doing here? He knelt beside her mother and said softly, I came to return what you gave me. Life. He paid for her mother's treatment, built them a small brick house, and gave Kioma a job at his company's foundation. She tried to refuse again, but this time he smiled. You gave me a second chance. Let me give you one too. Months passed. Kioma proved to be more than kind. She was brilliant. She handled projects, cared for the staff, and treated everyone equally, from the gatekeeper to the CEO. And one day, at a charity event, Richard introduced her to the crowd. He said, When I had everything, I forgot what mattered. When I had nothing, a poor girl reminded me of what wealth truly is. The crowd applauded, but Kioma just smiled shyly. After the event, Richard walked up to her and said, Kioma, you saved my life once, but since then, you've saved my soul every single day. Her eyes widened. Sir, please. He interrupted softly. Don't call me sir. Call me Richard. He took her hand. I fell in love with the heart that pulled me from the wreck that night. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered, I'm just a fruit seller. He smiled. And I was just a broken man. But love doesn't care who we were. It only sees who we are. A few months later, they married quietly under the same mango tree where she once sold her fruits. There were no cameras, no reporters, just two people who had found meaning in each other's hearts. And when people asked Richard why a billionaire would marry a poor girl, he always answered the same way. Because the day I died, the world walked away, but she walked toward me. He built a free hospital in her village and named it the Kioma Care Center. Whenever visitors asked about the name, he smiled and said, It's a reminder that kindness doesn't wear a price tag. It wears a human heart. Because in the end, wealth can build walls, but love builds bridges.